Nope. All right. So. That looks all right. The lighting is kind of weird, but what are you going to do? All right, puppies, it's time. Out. And I hope they're not super wound up, but it might be too late. Might be too late for that. So it's a bright sunny morning here, and that means like the light is a little weird. Looks all right on YouTube, but Facebook looks a little weird. All right, so I'm on time, and holy moly, look at that. What do you know? So I'm going to wait just another little moment before we get going. Who's with me? Hey, Lorianne. I haven't seen you in a long time. I see your posts all the time, so it's fun. Yeah. Oh, and then my husband is patrolling. Patrolling for the creeps. So, all right. So I'll go ahead and get chatting anyway. It's been a little weird lately, right? Just sort of getting my footing here. I found a yoga studio that I've gone to a couple of times, and immediately they're losing an instructor, so they asked me if I wanted to teach, and I do and I don't. You know, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. But for now, we're doing this, and we're getting a little bit for myself, and that's where we're at. So hopefully you've done the 5-day challenge, and all of your fitness goals and exercise goals or meditation goals or whatever they happen to be for the year are going well. And if they're not, you can always pick back up, right? You don't have to wait for January. If you fall down, you pick back up, right? And sometimes you find stuff that's better. For a long time, my goal was just to exercise, and I did all of the body pump, and it was fun. Don't get me wrong, please. But I didn't love it, right? And when I found yoga, that was like all it took, right? So sometimes it takes a little tweaking, right? You start off with one thing and you find where you really want to be, and then that's all it took, right? And then it's easier, not perfect and not foolproof, right? But easier. So that's all we're looking for. That's the best we can do, right? So take that idea to your practice, right? So you sit down and you have an intention of practicing yoga, and then you're just not feeling it, or you're not feeling twists or whatever it happens to be, right? You sit down, you work at it, and you take the things that work and you leave the things that don't. And that doesn't mean it's permanent, right? It's just today. So try to approach your practice like that today. See what works and see what doesn't. I'm going to keep it fairly simple, right? But we're going to get a little bit of everything. So if there's something that just isn't speaking to you this morning, then skip it, right? Even when you're with a group, if there's something that isn't working, don't force it. It's just not for you that moment. So let's head over to the mat. We're going to start seated. So finding your comfortable seat here, aligning your heels and making sure that you're upright on your pelvis. And then engaging that lower belly, lifting the pelvic floor, lower belly in and up. We're tall through the sides, but relax through the upper belly so you can breathe. Relax your shoulders, take them down and back on the sides of your body here. And then just let your hands fall where is most comfortable, wherever that is for you. Go ahead and close your eyes. Feel the weight of your head over your shoulders. So maybe the bottom tips of the ears move back just a little bit, and then you'll feel your neck go. Right? And just be here for a moment and notice how your body is feeling even in this simple place, right? Are there a little bit of aches and pains? If you can make them better by sitting up on a block or a bolster or something like that, great. If maybe supporting your lower back with your arms against the floor, right? Doing what you can to make it better, easier for you. Remember, pain is bad in yoga and pretty much everything. Pain is your body's way of saying that isn't happening today. Finding your breath and gently inviting it to deepen. Finding that just beyond comfortable breath. And then keeping what you have set here, the engagement of the belly, these beautiful big breaths, this place, this quiet, easy place for your mind. Even when you're in the craziest pose, this is really the goal, not the pose itself. To be there, but to still be here. So let's begin to add in some movement. We'll extend the arms. With an inhale, stretch them up. And then exhale and back down again. Again like that. We'll go once more. Back to the top. Exhaling just the right hand back to the mat, giving yourself a little tip. Taking a nice big breath here. Open up the left side of the body. And with the inhale, make your way back up to the center. And we're going to switch it, taking it over to the left. Again, big full breath. Back to center. And we'll go once more on each side. So back over to the right, see if you can find maybe a little bit deeper stretch. The pelvis stays level, big full breath. And then back to the top. Last time, taking it over to the left. Inhaling as we come back up to the top again. Let's exhale, release the arms. Taking the right hand over to the left knee, left hand behind the back. Easy little twist over to the left. So keeping everything you had set before, right? Level in the pelvis, the lower belly is engaged, the spine is nice and tall. Nice full breaths. Gets harder when you start to twist sometimes. And then releasing that, come on back through the middle, over to the second side. Same idea, just easy to start. Let's release that back to center. We're going back to that first side again. So right hand to the left knee-ish, right? Left hand behind the body, press into the floor, sit a little bit taller. And then as you pull against the knee, think rotating from the belly button through the side ribs. That left shoulder is back. Look over your shoulder as far as you can see. And just notice how it's different. Notice if you feel even through the spine, still that quiet, easy place in your mind. Releasing that back through the center, over to that second side again. So that little bit deeper twist. Nice, easy breaths. Let's release that, coming back through the middle. We'll bring the soles of the feet together here. Pulling the heels toward the groin, sitting nice and tall, hang on to your ankles if that helps. Elbows into the inner thighs here. You can gently press down for a little assist. Try to avoid pressing on the knee. Bring that elbow to the inner thigh. And then maybe hinge forward, thinking belly button to heels. That direction, not that they actually meet. We'll take a couple more nice big breaths. On an inhale, making your way back up to the top here. Let's go ahead and extend the legs out long. Maybe bounce them around a little bit if you need the extra. And sitting nice and tall here. If you want to be on a block, that's fine. Just watch that the knees do not hyperextend. Flexing your feet so your toes point at the ceiling. Right? Nice tall spine. We're going to reach up and begin to hinge forward. When you can't hinge any further, just let your hands fall. Don't worry about touching your toes, especially now. It's very early. And then work with your breath a little bit. So on an inhale, lengthen up your spine. Maybe even come out of that fold a little bit. As you exhale, see if you can sink in there a little bit deeper. So just a gentle little in and out. It can be a big movement, but it does not have to be. Let's take just a couple more breaths like that. On an inhale, we're going to make our way back up again. Release the arms. And let's bring it around onto hands and knees. So take a second here, tabletop position, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Making sure that the index knuckle bears as much weight as the wrist, support your wrist. And then keeping the lower belly in like we were. Let's go ahead and move with our breath here. Exhale the belly toward the floor. Exhale, round your spine toward the ceiling. And then just flow between those two poses with your breath, in and out. So there's going to be tight spots in the spine. See if you can gently move into them. And notice if the rest of the body wants to move and help, like shifting back or forward. See how centered you can stay. Let's take one more flow. And then find a center. So belly still supporting here for sure. Nice neutral spine. We're going to extend the right leg straight back. Heel in line with the hip. So don't worry about high, keeping the hips square, pressing through the heel, make that leg strong. From there, stretch the left arm forward. Arm alongside the ear, head in line with the spine. Reach away. What happens to the breath? We're going to release that back down again. And then we'll switch sides. So the left leg back. Extend. And the right arm forward when you're ready. Take your time, especially when it's a little wobbly. The quicker you move, the more likely it is that you're going to flop over, right? So nice and controlled, steady, smooth breaths. And then release that side. I'm gonna turn sideways just for a second here. So we're gonna add on to that. We're gonna add a little bit of movement, a little bit of flow here. So go ahead and extend your right leg and left arm again. Smooth and controlled as you can. On an exhale, draw the elbow and knee together underneath the body, squeeze. Inhale, reach away. Exhale, take your arm over to the left and your leg around to the right here. And then inhale back to the middle. Exhale, elbow and knee. Inhale, reach away. Out to the sides. And then back to the middle. Let's go one more time. And then release down. I almost kept going. All right. So working the second side, same idea. Left leg, right arm. Take your time getting there. Be sure you're following your breath. When you're ready, exhaling elbow and knee. Extending away. Out to the sides. And back to the middle. Again. One more flow. When you're back to center, just release the hand and knee back to the mat. Yeah, one more. So one more time here, go ahead and extend your right arm, right leg and left arm. And then bending out the knee here, let's reach around and see about finding that foot. So work with your balance, maybe finding the foot is the struggle. Okay. Pressing the foot into the hand, lifting the toes, any of those little pieces. Nice full breath. And then we'll release it, stretch out long, and come back down, hand and knee. Same idea, second side. Left leg and right arm. Take your time, finding the foot over here, and then working where you are. Let's go ahead and release that. Coming back into all fours again. And then gently here, go ahead and sit back into a child's pose. Take your time, make the adjustments. Maybe you want your knees closer or wider, your arms forward or back, or cushioning your head. Go ahead and take just a couple more breaths here. And then let's stretch those arms out long in front. Grounding the four corners of your hands here, let's make our way into our first down dog. Just allowing the body to wiggle and stretch. Bicycle your heels, shift through your shoulders. Allowing yourself to just sort of settle into it wherever it is right now. Okay? So pressing the chest back, sinking through the heels, big full breaths. Let's go ahead and lift that right leg. And we'll step through to the hands, come to lunge. Dropping the back knee. Adjusting the toes so that the ankle and knee align. And from there, taking the right leg straighter. So take your time with it. Maybe it's not quite straight. Maybe you need to come up a little bit to have it straight. Find where it is, find your spine, nice and neutral. Belly still engaged, you've got those beautiful breaths. Your mind is super happy about where you are. And then bend back into the knee, let your hips sink. Adding in a little twist here. Bring the right hand to the hip, rotating the belly around, take the side ribs back, the shoulder back. Tucking this left shoulder underneath, right? So we just don't lean, right? We rotate around. Releasing that twist. Let's take the leg straight again. See about maybe finding a little bit deeper stretch this time. Whatever that looks like for you. And then once again, we'll bend. Sink nice and low. So the same idea here. We're going to keep our hips sunk. If you want to keep it simple, bring the right hand to the hip and twist around. Doesn't have to get any fancier than that. But maybe climb up on the thigh. Bring the left hand to the outside of the knee. Right hand maybe to the hip to begin. Pulling against the knee just a little bit. Keep the knee pointing forward. Rotate around here. And then if you want to get a little fancy, think sweeping your legs together. Keep that lower belly working. Bend the left knee more. So the toes lift away from the floor, and then maybe your right hand can find your foot. Sink in. You can pull the heel closer to the hip or not. Take another breath. And then gently release it. Make your way back to lunge and then into down dog. So working the second side, go ahead and lift the left leg. And then step that foot through to the hands. Dropping the back knee, adjusting the toes here so you've got your alignment. When you're ready, take the left leg straight. Bend back into the knee. Sink into the hips. Adding that simple twist to begin here, left hand to the hip, rotating through the belly, side rib, shoulder, looking up. And then releasing that twist, taking the left leg straight again, finding that little bit deeper stretch if that's for you on this side. We'll bend back into the knee, sink a little deeper into the hips. And then twisting again, whether you keep it simple, bump it up a little, or add in the back leg. Right, so bending the right knee a little more. Finding the foot here and twisting around. More or less quad stretch, of course. And then releasing all of that, making your way back to your down dog. Let's drop down to the knees and find child's pose again. Making our way back to down dog. Walking the feet to the hands, let's come to a standing fold. Feet up underneath the hip bones here. Toes point forward, about the width of your hand between the feet. Feeling even on the four corners. From here, bringing the hands to the thighs. Pressing away, bringing the upper body parallel-ish to the floor. Lean on the legs if you feel like you need to be leaning. Otherwise, they're just supporting here. We've got roughly a 90-degree bend in the knee. Yeah? This would be a hip. Nice neutral spine. Keeping that 90-degree bend here, go ahead and bend your knees and come to chair. So find the four corners of your feet. Tuck your tailbone under just a little bit. Neutral spine. Again, leaning heavily or not. Looking up if you like to look up. Let's take one more breath here. With the inhale, we're going to stretch to the ceiling. And exhale, release it. All right. So from the top of the mat, we're going to start off by increasing our sun salute. So I warned you last week. You were here. We're going to start working toward 5 and eventually maybe 5 sun salutations be, if that makes any sense to you. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. You've done them a million times. So modify what you need to modify. If it needs to be an all knees down or all variation 1, then that's what it is. Okay? Connect to your breath. On the inhale, let's stretch the arms up. With the exhale, we're going to take it over into fold. Inhaling, come halfway up. And then exhale and step yourself back into a plank. Take the knees if you like. We're dropping down to the belly, everything to the floor together. Hands next to the side ribs, nice little shoulder rolls to cobra. And then release it. Everything up off the floor. Together, back to down dog. Step forward, fold. Halfway up on an inhale. And back over. Reaching for the ceiling. then release it. So another one just like that. Inhaling up, taking it to fold, halfway up, back to plank, down to the belly. Same exhalation if you can. Roll into cobra. Maybe a little pull, opening up a little deeper. Releasing back to down dog. And then stepping forward, fold. Halfway up. And back over again. All the way. Releasing. So this next one, it'll be the exact same thing, only I'm not going to talk, right? I always like this when we do it in class, and it just gives you a little moment to rely on yourself, right? You can do it. You don't have to listen to me, right? So we're going to do the exact same thing, nothing fancy. If you do get lost or whatever, certainly just peek up. But otherwise, it's all you, right? One round just like that and go. How'd that go? It's nice to do it with nothing else, right? So we're going to add in the little part B variations. If that's not for you, then take the other one, right? Rest in child's pose, rest in down dog, whatever. Right? So let's inhale into a chair. And then exhale to fold. Halfway up. Back into plank. All the way down. Rolling into cobra, making it a little bigger if you're ready. Releasing that back to down dog. And then on an inhale, the right foot steps forward. Toes all the way to the fingers. Drop the back knee or heel. We're going to lift. Exhale, come on back down and into down dog. Slide forward, plank. Exhale to the belly. Inhaling for cobra. We release down dog. Left foot's going to step forward. Take your time. Heel or knees to the mat. Lift. And then back down again. Down dog. Sliding forward for plank. Dropping down. Cobra. Back to down dog. So holding down dog or dropping down. Nice, easy, smooth breaths. Again, you're looking for that same sensation as you had when you started class seated, right? How are we doing? You got one more breath where you are. If you drop down, lift into down dog. And then on an inhale, stepping the feet forward, we'll come to standing fold. Halfway up with that next inhale. Take it back over again. Into chair. And exhale to release it. Okay. So that's enough for that today, but we are going to, like I said, be building. So we'll throw in more A's, we'll throw in maybe more B's as we go. We'll build it. So nice big step back with the left foot. Opening up into straddle, toes pointing forward. So remember, you can support on your thighs if you feel like you need to. Maybe hands to the hips, bellies in. We're gonna hinge over halfway-ish. And hold here for a moment. So if you've leaned back into your heels, come back to center. And if you have a deeper fold and you're ready for it, go ahead and take it there. Leave your hands on your hips for just a couple of breaths though. So the elbows stay out and the shoulders stay back. From here, we'll go ahead and take the hands toward the mat. They can always rest on your shins. Or your thighs, even if that's where you're at, right? So bend the knees if you need to here. We're gonna take those hands, index and middle fingers, wrap around the big toes. Legs are straight if you can make them that way. Elbows bend out to the sides either way so the shoulders stay back. And then you can pull a little bit on the toes to intensify the stretch. Let's release the toes. Take the fingers to interlace behind the lower back. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away. Reaching the hands away. And then we'll release it. Taking the hands back to the floor, let's go ahead and walk the hands around toward the right foot and lunge to the top of the mat. So there are some options here. You can absolutely drop that back knee to the floor, or you can hop in so that the foot can be flat with the toes pointing forward. The idea is to keep the hips square to the top of the mat, so placement with the feet is not as important right now. Make it work for you. Right? So from here, we're gonna climb up on the thigh and lift the upper body. So just coming to a warrior one variation. Again, choosing what's right for you. If it's a balance thing, maybe drop the knee. Okay. Pressing through that heel, make the back leg straight. And then the hands can stay supporting or reach. Looking up, unless that makes you want to fall over. We don't want to fall over. So it's not exactly a straight line, but imagine the straight line from your fingertips through that back heel. Just kind of put that in your brain. Keeping the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. You can 100% change your hands if you want. Supporting, come center, hips, whatever it is you need. Super challenging to leave the arms extended. So you decide. We're gonna hop the back foot in until you can take all the weight in the right foot, lifting the toes away from the floor. So the right leg is straight. Hands can come to the mat if they need. The hips are still square. Right? It's not about lifting that leg high. And of course, the arms can be wherever. Let's take another nice big breath. We're going to step way back into that lunge again. And walk the hands back around into the strap. Take a second here. Toes point forward. And then we're going to work to the second side. So turning your right toes in a little bit, turn your left toes toward the top of the mat, and walk the hands around. So again, get this back leg comfy, whether you want the knee on the floor or a little bit shorter stance, you decide. Sweep the legs toward each other to square up the hips and then climb on up. Making the back leg straight and strong. This left knee not in front of your toes, stacked over the ankle. Right? hang on, extend, whatever makes you happy with the arms. So again, we've got this straight line, fingertips to the back heel. Keeping that idea as we hop forward and lift the right leg. So the body is still in this straight line, right? Regardless of whether the hands need to be on the floor, whether this left knee needs to be bent. Find the variation that's right for you at this moment. Let's take one more big breath. We're going to release that back into the lunge. And then walk the hands back around for straddle. Take a second. And then we'll take the hands, walk them around to the top of the mat again, stepping back for down dog. Drop on down to the knees. And take your child's pose again. So let's come back into our tabletop. So hands and knees here. Nice long neutral spine. From here, we're going to weave the right hand underneath. So the palm is face up, bringing maybe the elbow to the middle of the mat. That's a nice little twist. Feel it? Right? Stay even on your knees for now. Anyway. If you want a little more, continue to reach away and drop that right shoulder to the floor. Again, kind of in the middle of your mat-ish. So we don't want to be leaning all over the place. Make sure your head is comfortable. You're not leaning on your head. And then you can stay here. Maybe press the left hand into the floor to open up a little deeper there. Pressing the right arm as part of your foundation. So stay here if you'd like. Maybe stretch the left arm up. Maybe step that left foot back. And if you're feeling brave and balanced today, you can lift the left toes away from the floor. And then, of course, if you want to get fancy, bend the knee. See about finding your foot. Pressing the foot away, knee pointing toward the ceiling. Shoulders are stacked, head and neck are comfortable. You're breathing. We'll gently release it. Come on back down into your all fours. All right. So second side, you've got all the same options. You decide where you go with it. So the left hand is coming under. Elbow maybe. Staying even on the knees. If the shoulder comes down, lovely. Opening up the arm, maybe lifting the toes. You find the foot over here, you do. And then we're going to release it. Finding your way back to all fours again. And one more time here, go ahead and sit back for your child's pose. From child's pose this time, come sit up on your heels. If this is just awful, right, sit on the block or a stack of books or a blanket or a couple of pillows, right? You don't have to have fancy tools, right? Your body, and that's pretty much all you need, really. Right? So sitting on a block, if that's where you need to be to make your knees cool with this. Right? Not everybody loves this. So the feet can stay up under the hips if that's where you want to be. Right? If you want to go a little deeper with this, though, take the feet and knees so that the heels are outside of the hips. And the legs are still pretty parallel to each other. It's not like the knees are close and the feet are wide or vice versa. Right? Pretty neutral. And even if you're sitting on a block, you can do this next little piece here. We're going to come forward and come all the way down to the floor, pressing the pelvis down into the mat. Press yourself back up and sit back between your heels again. So still, whether you're up on your block or down on the floor. Right? But maybe you don't need the block as high this time. Maybe you don't need the block at all, right? Let's see. Come forward, all the way down. Press the pelvis into the floor. And then up and back, sitting back between your heels. So now where are you? Maybe at some point, your bottom comes to the floor between your heels. Maybe not. Don't worry about it either way, it doesn't matter. So it's just where you go and can it change, right? One more time, come forward. All the way down. Pressing down into the floor. And then pressing back up between the heels again. Whatever that looks like right now. And maybe it's a little deeper than where you started, and that's, again, all you can ask for. So we'll come forward. And then shake out your legs if you feel like you need to shake out your legs. And we're going to make our way into one last down dog. Drop the knees to the mat. And let's bring the legs around front. Extend those legs out nice and long, just like we did at the very beginning, right? Making sure that we feel upright on the pelvis, the belly still engaged, and your spine is neutral. Reach the arms, and we'll fold forward. So again, it still does not matter if you don't touch your toes. Let your hands fall wherever they do. The shoulders stay back. They are not part of the fold, right? So again, if you touch your toes, lovely. If you don't worry about it. But notice that it's different. Nice big breaths. So we're in what we believe to be a neutral spine here, right? So just kind of check in and see where your fold is. On the inhale, we're going to come back up. And then release it. Taking the feet flat to the floor, we're going to go ahead and roll down. So flat on your back. And for a moment, just kind of even up, right? Find neutral for your spine, whether the feet are flat or the legs are extended, either way, right? So check in with your shoulders, check in with your hips, make sure the spine is neutral. If they're not already, go ahead and extend your legs down toward the bottom of the mat. Flex your feet If you need to, take a peek, right? So the feet are still hip bone distance, just like they are when we stand up, and the toes point toward the ceiling. Spine is neutral. If this is absolutely not doable for your lower back, the knees can be bent. We want to keep what we have here and extend the right leg toward the ceiling. So you can absolutely use a strap here, maybe over the ball mound of your foot or behind your thigh. We're going to start to draw that right leg in. So you can interlace your fingers again. You don't need fancy tools so much. Right? Can you find the neutral spine? Right? Or did something roll away, like your shoulders cropped up, curled up? The right hip maybe kicks up sometimes, yeah? Find that neutral place again. And then if you have it, right, exhale, pull that right leg in a little bit closer, right until you feel where your spine is gonna shift, right? Or that hip is gonna kick up, or your shoulders, or whatever it was, right? And then just a little bit in and out. Go one more time, pull that leg in, find the edge, and then back away from the edge just a little bit. Take your left arm out, glue that side of your body to the floor so nothing changes. We're going to take the outside of the right hand to the outside of the leg and let the leg fall out to the right. Try and keep it in line with your hip. Don't let it drift towards your left foot. Right? So we're opening to the side and keeping the body neutral on the mat. Right? Let the weight of your leg rest into your hand. What's the left leg doing? Your hips still on the floor, your toes still pointing towards the ceiling. Let's come on back to center. And release the right leg. If you do feel a little bit crooked, go ahead and fix, right? Find neutral again. We'll do the exact same thing on the second side. So start lifting your left leg, keeping everything else as it is. Use your strap, use your hands, whatever you got here. And then work to find that neutral place. Shoulders back, spine long, feet flexed. Working to find the edge, so a little bit closer in, and then let it go a bit. So using your back against the floor really tells you where your hamstrings are, right? So you can roll through your spine and touch your toes all you want, but when you have to feel your back against the floor, you know whether you're all round or whether the spine is neutral, yeah? So we're gonna go one more time like that, a little in and out. Finding that edge. Back away from the edge just a bit. Extend the right arm out to the right, support the left leg with your hand, let it fall to the left. Again, supporting the leg so that that inner hip can relax. Otherwise, it's squeezing to hold itself up. We don't want it to squeeze, we want it to rest. Right hip on the floor, right toes toward the ceiling. And then we'll come back to the middle, releasing the left leg to the floor. So it doesn't make it wrong necessarily, but just notice if when the leg goes out and then comes back and your spine and your hips are all crazy all over the mat, you might have been leaning, right? Maybe not, but maybe. Let's just kind of assess what's going on. We're going to take the feet flat to the floor. And then gently hug those knees into the chest, rock a little bit. Let's open the arms out into a T position. And of course, this final twist, you can take the feet to the floor, you can shift the hips, you can leave the knees closer, straight legs, crossed legs, whatever. Take your legs over to the right. We'll take just a couple more nice big breaths here. And then bring the legs back to center. Even out if you need to, and take the legs over to the left. Another nice big breath over on this side. And then we're coming back to the middle again. One more time, knees into the chest, rocking a little. And then squeezing the legs in, pulling the forehead toward the knees. Releasing that out, full body stretch. Release your stretch and find Shavasana. You made it. Now time for the really good stuff. Maybe the hardest pose though, right? So find alignment with your body. Comfort, whether you need to prop your knees up. Some people like a pillow under their head. If you want to sit up against a wall, that's fine. Just find where your body wants to be right now. And then releasing your muscles. Release control of your breath. Keeping the mind present and quiet. Allow yourself to rest. Allow your breath to gently deepen. And restore small movements to the body first. Gradually wiggling and stretching. And when you're ready, taking the feet flat to the floor. Rolling to the side. And making your way back up to seated. Sitting well. Bringing the palms to touch. Bowing your head to your heart. Namaste. Our time together just flies. I don't know how that was an hour. So I hope that worked for you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, share, comment, all of that great stuff. It helps me get a little bit more exposure and, well, good exposure, not exposed. Right. So I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you next Saturday, if not before. Well, probably not before since I'm so far away now. All right. Have a good one, you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully it's beautiful where you are too. Bye.